Ontario Premier Doug Ford is taking one of his more familiar campaign slogans and turning it into a plan just in time for Labor Day.
Ontario, the day you've been waiting for is finally here. We're bringing back a buck of beer to Ontario.
Ford is urging the province's brewers to make a buck of beer a reality. He's allowing them to lower their prices by 25 cents per bottle or can if they want to, beginning August 27th. Now, he made this all official at a brewery in Picton, Ontario, earlier today. The CBC's Megan Fitzpatrick is outside of a liquor store in Toronto. She joins me now. Megan, a buck of beer is a catchy campaign slogan, but how's this going to play out?
Well, Lindsay, the current law in Ontario stipulates that beer manufacturers have to sell their beer for a minimum price of $1.25. And what Ford was announcing this morning is that his government intends to bring in legislation to lower that minimum price to $1 and to do that in time for the next long weekend here in Ontario for Labor Day. Now, the Ford government does have a majority government at the Ontario legislature, so they'll have little trouble pushing these new rules through. The new lower price would apply to beer that's 5.6% in alcohol content or lower. And again, important to note, this will be up to beer manufacturers themselves to decide if they want to sell beer for $1. Just because they can doesn't mean they will. At Ford's news conference this morning, he was putting out a challenge to brewers saying they should sell it for a lower price. And that, why would they do that? Well, because they would get the endless appreciation and respect of their customers, he said. That appreciation would be priceless. Other incentives might include getting featured at the LCBO stores like the one behind me where Ontarians can buy liquor, maybe more prominent shelf space or being featured in their flyers, that kind of thing. But otherwise, he said the government isn't providing any specific subsidies. He was asked if there are any concerns to him or his government about lowering the prices and whether that would lead to more people drinking more beer and whether there's any public safety or health risks to that. Here was Ford's response to that. Take a listen.
I think people in Ontario are mature enough. They're mature enough to know when they've had one too many. And if they've had one too many, you know, they know they can't be out there driving or being reckless. I have all the confidence in the people of Ontario to be responsible beer drinkers.
Now, he and Ontario's finance minister was also asked whether this will mean less government revenue. They say they don't intend to change the tax structure at all, so shrugging off any concerns, Lindsay, about lost revenue because of lower beer prices in Ontario.
It sounded like Ford was being a bit defensive there, responding to criticism. What other kind of reaction has there been?
Some political reaction from his opponents at Queen's Park who say the government's priorities are out of whack, casting doubt on the fact that this is one of his first priorities coming into office. They say he should be focusing on other things. Also, concerns raised by Mothers Against Drunk Driving, Lindsay, saying they're concerned that this would lead to increased consumption of beer and that in turn could lead to increased risks like more impaired drivers on the road. So they're not happy about this plan going forward.
The CBC's Megan Fitzpatrick in Toronto.